Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience with that recess. Next on the agenda, Mayor Carter, Mayor of St. Paul. Mayor Carter, welcome to the committee, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, taking time out of your day to talk to us about college savings accounts.
I'm honored to be here. Chair Davnie, Chair Nelson, and members of this committee, thank you very much for the opportunity to testify today. I'm very honored to be here. My name is Melvin Carter, and I am the mayor of St. Paul. I sit before you today to urge you to support the College Savings Account pilot program provision outlined in the House version of the education bill, which appropriates $500,000 over the next biennium to the city of St. Paul to launch the pilot program. I want to thank Chair Pinto and Representative Herr for their leadership on the bill. Thank you so much for your leadership. College savings accounts are sweeping the nation. At the end of 2018, 62 CSA programs were currently serving children in 35 states and the District of Columbia, reaching 456,000 children. This is something I learned about in my previous role, as many of you are aware, as Executive Director of the Minnesota Children's Cabinet. In response to many of the challenges that I heard as I traveled across the entire state, talking in particular to early childhood professionals about the opportunities and the challenges that they saw facing our state and our communities. Like is being proposed in Minnesota, states like Maine, Pennsylvania, and Oklahoma have made seed deposits into college savings accounts at birth. Research shows two tremendous impacts in early childhood when a child has a college savings account at birth. One, decreased symptoms of maternal depression with an effect size greater for mothers with lower income and lower education attainment levels. And two, increased children's social emotional functioning with similar effect size to early Head Start. This is why in 2018, the city employed an inclusive program design process to shape a local college savings account pilot in the city of St. Paul. Over 50 community members joined our CSA task force, including representatives from community service providers, educational institutions, foundations, financial institutions, and corporations to develop recommendations for our program design. In the planning year, and as we head to launch the program for our local CSA program, we have had tremendous private sector support from 3M, Ecolab, Bremer Bank, Sunrise Banks, Highway Credit Union, and several others in the private sector. The task force also engaged nearly 200 community members in 9 community engagement sessions to inform and validate its recommendations. The city has committed our own financial resources through staffing and is raising funding from philanthropy and corporation givers, totaling over $600,000 in local, private, and public investments. Pilot programs make a difference. The Keystone Scholars Program in Pennsylvania moved from being a 6-county demonstration project in 2018 to becoming a statewide program in 2019. Their program establishes a $100 college savings account deposit for every baby born or adopted in Pennsylvania to be used for the baby's future higher education expenses. There are lessons learned that should happen at a manageable scale before going statewide, and that's why we're proposing this pilot project. With the work that has already been done, the city of St. Paul is in a unique position to apply this concept in Minnesota for the benefit of families and communities throughout the entire state. As part of this pilot, the city will submit a report about lessons learned and make recommendations to help expand college savings accounts statewide. Like most early childhood investments, this is a great return on investment for taxpayers. In the long run, research shows that children from low and moderate income families with only between $100 and $500 in dedicated college savings are 3 times more likely to attend college and 4 times more likely to graduate than those with no college savings. There's no better foundation to give a child. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I want to thank you for your time here today, and I'm certainly happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mayor Carter. Questions from members regarding the college savings account proposal in the House bill? Representative Pinto, early childhood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I mostly actually just wanted to highlight both the significant investment made by the city in this pilot program, but then also the potential impact statewide. We had members from a variety of communities who heard this proposal and helped move it forward along the way, recognizing the impact that it can have on children and families statewide. And you wouldn't think that this small deposit initially at birth could make such a difference, and the research shows that, in fact, it really does. And Mayor, you commented a little bit on this, but if you wouldn't mind just expanding just a bit on that prospect for having impact, because I think somebody might look at this and say, well, City of St. Paul, that's all well and good, but we've got this concern about the kids throughout the state. Can you just maybe just amplify just that point just a bit?
Mayor Carter.
Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, Representative Pinto, thank you very much for the question. As I mentioned, my background is in early childhood. I, as a member of the St. Paul City Council, founded the St. Paul Promise neighborhood, which I know all of you are very familiar with, and then spent 4 years working as executive director of the Minnesota Children's Cabinet. As I moved throughout the state in that role, from Thief River Falls to Owatonna to Brainerd and Bemidji, and everywhere kind of in between, one of the big things that I've heard from professionals all across our state is the term kindergarten surprises, and the notion of the frustration that we have across our state of children who show up in kindergarten who we didn't know were coming, and could have challenges and delays that we could have addressed, that we feel like our professionals say they could have addressed in the years prior. We hear about the challenges that our young children face growing up in families with socio-emotional challenges, mental health crises, and different things, and the impact on our entire education system that we feel like we can make if we were able to do that. As I said in my testimony, college savings accounts have been shown to increase by a factor of 3 the likelihood for children from low and moderate income families to attend college, and by a factor of 4 their likelihood to graduate. College savings accounts have been shown to increase mothers' psychological well-being and social economic outcomes for those children. They help us connect children and families at a younger age to our broader early childhood ecosystem, and also help connect families, improve child development and social emotional functioning, and also connect families in a better way to responsible financial institutions and products, helping that family to be more stable. Representative, we believe that through this pilot program, we can prove a brand new tool in Minnesota's toolbox to help children and families, and I would also say an incredibly cost-efficient, cost-effective tool, because with all of these things that we believe that we can accomplish, anything else, and I share this with our team, and I know I've shared this with many of you in your own offices as we've discussed this directly, anything else that I could present, then this is why I got excited about this as Executive Director of the Minnesota Children's Cabinet, because anything else that I have seen that I could present, that I could argue could have such a profound impact, would cost literally $100 or maybe $1,000 more on a per child basis.
Representative Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor, good to see you again.
It's wonderful to see you, Senator.
I'm just missing the piano. I certainly appreciate that talent of yours.
Well, Senator, let's finish the week, and I'll bring the piano after we.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask a couple things about the information you gave. A lot, as normal. Tell me about them. You mentioned something about the effect size of the college savings plan on, was it the effect size in, just kind of go through that data for me again. You went through it kind of fast, and I just want to kind of synthesize that. So the data that you have about the effectiveness of the college savings plans, and particularly I'm hoping this is data because, I think college savings plans are terrific. I think every grandmother should start one for their grandchild. So the effect of the college savings plans that are started not by the parent, but in this type of a program. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is the data that shows the effect of a college savings plan that is started by a nonprofit or a city, or there's some counties that start college savings plans. What is the effect on that? What does the data tell you?
Mayor Carter.
Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, thank you for the question. I have to say I'm not aware of specific research that splits the effect of a public program versus kind of a private account that's been set up. What I will say is that the research, all of the research that I've read, ultimately says that the impact of this really isn't based on the source of the dollars in the first place, but ultimately we have children who see high school graduation as a finish line of sorts, and to use a metaphor, that putting literally $1 in college savings for a child sort of turns on the next streetlight beyond high school graduation and gets them in the mindset from an early age of thinking beyond that place, of how they'll move beyond that place in a way that has been shown and proven to produce dividends. In brief, there are both the long-term type effects, like that post-secondary attendance and completion, the long-term health outcomes, potential long-term to reduce racial wealth gap and other types of gaps, but also the interim effects have been shown to increase savings for post-secondary education and the parents' educational expenses. And I hear your concern that we want to make sure that we want to incentivize families to do their savings of themselves. San Francisco's experience has been that their lowest income families have seen this as something that they've gotten excited around and has brought them to invest in their own children as well, to the tune of $3 million, which low-income families in San Francisco, of their own private family money that they've put in themselves to invest in their children's high school or college education as well. So it is proven to be a pretty strong lever to help generate those kind of family and kind of, local kind of investments from the family around the child. So savings for post-secondary education, the parents, it's been shown to have a significant increase, a positive effect on parents' educational expectations for their children, also on the mother's psychological well-being while that child is in early childhood, in terms of decreased symptoms of maternal depression. That effect size, I said, is actually greater for mothers with lower income and educational attainment levels. And the final thing that I mentioned to you was increased children's social emotional functioning with a similar effect size to early Head Start. The report that I referenced that we spent the last year putting together is a 100-page report that includes many of those things and some kind of additional details beyond any of that. Happy to share this and any further details with you and other members of the committee.
Senator Nelson?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mayor. I do think that data is very important, and if we have truly seen this in a number of other states, I would expect to see that data that shows not just the effect of college savings accounts, but what you're talking about here is the effect of college savings accounts that have been started on behalf of the child as a part of a city project or a county project or some other type of public project. Is there any data like that you are aware of?
Mayor Carter?
Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, thank you. I'm holding in my hand a national study by an organization called Prosperity Now, who I would add as an aside, whose Vice President of Policy and Research is a Minnesotan. Which is why I have one reason why I have such strong confidence in the organization. It's the data, the report is entitled Quick Guide to CSA Research, an overview of evidence on children's savings accounts. This is the organization that has provided a lot of the technical assistance to those states and cities across the country who have implemented college savings accounts. They're the organization that has been working with us, one organization that's been working with us over the past year. So yes, I can share this with you and anyone else who's interested. That's where I'm pulling the data that I'm sharing with you right now.
Senator Nelson?
Thank you. I think that would be really important that we are able to actually look at that data. And then just a kind of more of a implementation question. So, we live in a pretty mobile world.
Yes.
People transfer, they move quite frequently. So what happens when a child leaves St. Paul? Let's say the family, maybe they move across the river to Minneapolis, or maybe they move across the river to Wisconsin. Not really sure. So what would happen to this child's savings account when they left St. Paul?
Mayor?
Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, that's one of the reasons why we strongly prefer for this to be a statewide program. That's one of the reasons why we think this report that we've completed is a contribution not only locally but across the state, because it's taken an incredible amount of time and resources to put that together, and we're hopeful that any other community across our state who wants to follow this track can benefit from this report. As our pilot program is put together, obviously $50 alone won't pay for college. $50 alone doesn't inherently change the world. What does change the world is the relationship that we can use that $50 to invite children and families into, and the type of wraparound services and supports that we can connect children and families with. We obviously don't have the capacity or ability to follow children to Wisconsin or to other states or other places along with this kind of pilot program and just locally. And so through the pilot program, the proposal is that if they moved away from the city, so that we can do the evaluation and bring back the report that we want to bring back to you, that they would return the public portion of that account, obviously keeping any private contributions that their family or friends have made on their behalf.
Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Well, what about the interest on that account? You can imagine a new young baby, maybe they move away when they're in 10th grade. And now that that college savings account is worth quite a bit more than when it was first put in place. So how does that work?
Mayor Carter?
Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, our structure really anticipates for maximum accessibility, really anticipates using savings accounts as opposed to some type of investment account. And so, the interest growth is not one of the primary features, frankly, of the program that we're building, so that we can maximize accessibility and ensure that families can be accessible to this program. I would say our entire perspective at this point so far has been to take the public investment and say that if that child moves out of the state or moves out of the community, that they would forfeit the public investment, which would include the growth from that public investment.
Senator Nelson?
Then my last question would be, would it not be better to allow the parents to actually use the public investment to purchase a college savings plan so that it could go with the child wherever the child goes, and they also then would keep any growth in that college investment plan, and they potentially would have a tax credit as well.
Mayor Carter?
Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, thank you for the question. That's one of the questions that one of our subcommittees on our task force spent the last year pouring really heavily into. They came back with a very strong recommendation to maximize accessibility, to go with the route of those kind of custodial savings accounts to ensure that, to make it as simple as possible and to ensure that all families can have access to it. Obviously, those families would still be encouraged and would still have the ability to open up a 529 or other type of college savings account as well. But to do this in a way that establishes a culture, a college-going culture across our city and hopefully ultimately across our state, we wanted to ensure that we had the opportunity to make it universal and as simple as possible for families to access.
Thank you, Mayor Carter. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Next, Yu Vang and Cesar. I'm not going to try. My apologies, sir. I think I'm showing more respect by not trying. I hope so, at least, sir. So, Senator, one of the things that we looked at was cost drivers for schools. How do we stabilize schools so that they can continue to provide programming consistently across years? And while we highlighted particularly special education, which I know you chose not to invest in, we also chose English language learning services, because just as there's been a historical underfunding of special education services, there's also been a historical underfunding of English language learning services. And while 30 years ago this might have been a metro issue, across the state, we have English language learners in districts large and small. My favorite is the Asian grocery store in Warroad. So there's apparently enough of an Asian community in Warroad to justify a grocery store by some entrepreneur. So we're wanting.
Mr. Chair, though, just to clarify.
Oh, yes.
I want to be very clear. The Senate did invest in education. There was over $400 million of increased growth that we did capture. So we chose to fund that increased growth, sometimes in growth and funding. So we did capture that. And just to note, just for clarity of the record, just to make sure that there is no doubt whatsoever, the Senate budget is based upon current revenues. The House budget, as many have called aspirational, which, as you said, there's nothing wrong with being aspirational at all, except our Constitution requires that we have a balanced budget. So the additional 4 times the amount of spending that the Senate has proposed, that the House has proposed, has to come from somewhere. And that's what we're going to see as our leaders determine how are we going to do this in Minnesota. So don't for 1 minute think that the Senate is not interested in special education. We are very interested in those costs. And again, when we see what type of joint budget targets we have, then we can have a more full discussion on that. But I don't want anyone to be under any inclination at all to think that the Senate is not aware and concerned about the rising special education costs. It'd be greatly helpful if the feds would keep their promise of 40% funding, and they haven't done it for maybe even since they ever made the promise. I'm not sure if they ever have kept up with that. So every year we have resolutions asking the feds to do that. I've done them in the past. I think Senator Wiger did one this year, asking the feds to keep their promise. While they've not done so, and we look forward to moving forward, but as I said, that Senate budget did not increase taxes. The House budget did dramatically by over $1 billion. And as soon as our leaders tell us how we're going to move forward with that, then we can. But it is incorrect to say that the Senate chose not to invest in special education.
Well, Madam Chair, I have no question about where your concerns are, and that you're hearing from school districts across the state, as we have, that the underfunding of special education is significant. I'm just aware, and Minnesotans are aware, of the starkly different approaches of $127 million investment in special education versus $0 new dollars in special education. But now we want to turn our attention to English language learners across the state. And is it Ms. Vang?
Yes.
Please introduce yourself for the tape and proceed with your testimony. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Zer Vang, and I am the Director of English Language Learner Programs in the St. Paul Public Schools District. Thank you so much for hearing my comments today to fund EL services for districts with the highest concentration of English learners. In St. Paul Public Schools, we have a large EL population of over 11,000 students. 1 out of 3 St. Paul Public School students is an English learner. St. Paul Public Schools has more English learners than many large districts have students. As a comparison among the Council of Great City Schools, our 11,000 students alone would make the top 10 list of largest districts. Over the last 5 years, our district has served between 1,000 to 2,500 newcomer students. Our Language Academy program is focused and set up to serve our students who have been in the U.S. for 3 years or less and have an English proficiency score on the WIDA Access test of 2.5 or lower. Currently, we serve over 500 life students who are students with limited or interrupted formal education. Approximately 1,900 students in our district are English learners who have been enrolled in our public school for more than 6 years and are not meeting English proficiency. These are our long-term ELs. Many of our ELs are economically disadvantaged, and we also have EL students qualified for special education, which is known as dually identified students. Our EL services are an essential part of the learning plan for immigrant and refugee students. ELs who are not proficient in English by the time they enter high school have a lesser chance to complete high school and acquire a diploma. Being able to speak basic English and use social language is not enough to prepare students to meet academic standards in school. Our EL licensed teachers work hard to ensure that students access the core content and acquire technical vocabulary, comprehend complex academic texts, write papers in a structured and coherent form, and make oral presentations using academic language. This is not easy work. EL students also need to pass the standardized assessments that are often written in academic English that measures the language skills of native English speakers. We have had the privilege to work toward opportunities for our EL students. Our district, St. Paul Public Schools program, promotes an inclusion model for our EL students, where they acquire English through participation in age-appropriate academic content that is driven by state standards. Students are able to access the core subjects through co-teaching, collaboration, small groups, English language development courses, and shelter courses in some cases for newcomers. We also offer Language Academy in 10 elementary schools and 8 secondary sites, which provide intensive language support through content instruction for level 1s and 2s, where they get 40 to 75% of their day with intensive English language support. The students are able to be in the Language Academy program for 2 years. We are also starting early with the new voluntary pre-K enrollment to identify our pre-K students for English language development support. So the current formula funds only a limited number of ESL teachers who provide supplemental instruction to EL students part of the day. However, all educators must have the skills and capacity to work with English learners. In addition, there are additional costs to continue communication with students and families, interpreters and translation services, publishing and posting multilingual materials, both for students and families in the community. We are asking for your support to provide funds to equitably serve all of our English learners. Our teachers, administrators, paraprofessionals, parents, and community workers are here to work hard to educate and accelerate EL students in our public schools. We want to work together to meet the ultimate and expected goal of exiting our students from EL services. EL services are not a service that students need to be in their entire K-12 experience. So I want to emphasize the identification, reclassification, and exit process. This takes a lot of work, a lot of partnership with our community, schools, and our partners out in the community to make sure that we have the advocacy. We need to educate our parents. We need to partner with our parents. Our parents need to understand what the services mean for their students' achievement and success in life. We need time for teachers to collaborate and learn from each other to address the learning needs of students, time to address the data that shows up for our students. And we want to make sure that we provide training for all educators who work with our EL learners. And that is going to require additional funding to support the work that we do, that we are proud to do for our English learners. At this time, I would like to also invite Cesar Osvaldo Mendez Portillo to share briefly about his ESL experience.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and then proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon. I'm Cesar Osvaldo Mendez Portillo, and I moved to the U.S. 2 years ago from El Salvador. And when I moved to here, I did not speak English, so I was placed in a EL school. The name of my school is Lib High School, and it's just like a mile from here. It's like a EL school, and pretty much all the students are English learners there. And all my classmates are from different parts of the world, like Thailand, like Somalia, Ethiopia, Burma, Nepal, China, and El Salvador, Honduras, and Brazil, Venezuela, just to mention some countries. My school became my new home, to be honest. It's where I feel welcome and when I feel like super sure about what I wanted to do. I'm super happy that the district opened the doors to start my new journal here in Minnesota. Thanks to the English learning program, I'm able to speak and read English. and also all my classmates are able to do it. I feel glad that St. Paul Public Schools has this opportunity, and I feel so happy that many students can learn English with the help of many teachers across the state. Thanks that now I speak English and I can read it and do many things with that. I've been involved in many things around the district. Just to mention some, I'm part of this 3M STEP program, and this summer I will be working with 3M, developments, secret things. I can mention that. And also member of CF, the Student Engagement and Advanced Board. We actually give like tips to the school board. And this year we've been working in get ethnic studies for SPPS schools. And thanks to the work that we do, we got a Magna Award from the National School Board Association. Also, the district gave the opportunity of get my nursing assistant diploma, and I took that class in St. Paul College with some of my classmates. And I'm very happy that the next fall I'm going to attend to the University of St. Thomas. And I've been accepted in many colleges as my classmates too. And some of my classmates are going to go to different colleges across Minnesota, just to mention some: Oxford University, Century College, St. Paul College. And my class is about 20 students, and more than 50% are going to attend college. And some of them are going to job corps, and some are going to the Army. Thanks to the EL programs, the State Department of Education provide for us, many English learning students are going to have many opportunities to be successful here in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Were you planning on testifying?
My name is Christy Schmidt, and I'm an English learner teacher, and Dr. Vane has invited me to join if there are any questions regarding to the programming.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Questions from members? Hearing none. Apparently they're not. Thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate your coming in.
Thank you.
Members of the audience, we've got a proposed, things are always fluid, order for the rest of this portion of the day. Superintendent Jones and Mr. Arsvold up next. Ms. White after that. Principal Fearing after that. Is Ms. Keeley here? Okay. Keekley, excuse me. Followed by Mr. Butel from the Department of Human Rights. And then batting cleanup, Ms. Bolger from the Girl Scouts. So hopefully that's what holds. Superintendent Jones, if you're here. Thank you for your patience today. And Madam Chair, we both have a priority, see the priority of career technical education.
Yes.
And approach it differently. So we asked some experts to come forward. Superintendent, good to see you again. Thank you for coming. Please introduce yourself for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Stephen Jones, Superintendent at Little Falls Community Schools in Little Falls, Minnesota. I'm glad that I can join you this afternoon, and I appreciate the opportunity on this, which is the annual Drive Your Tractor to School Day in Little Falls. So if you look at our Facebook page, you'll see lots of green and red in our parking lot today at school. They're probably getting ready to leave right about now, as a matter of fact. I've been privileged to be a superintendent in the state of Minnesota for 14 years, starting my job in southwest Minnesota, moving east to south central Minnesota, and now a little north to central Minnesota. And what I can tell you through my time as a superintendent, I've seen a marked increase in the importance of career technical education in the state of Minnesota. Not just the programs we offer, but the variety and the breadth of the programming that we can offer. For example, in Little Falls, in the past 4 to 5 years, we've worked collaboratively with businesses and manufacturing to increase opportunities for our kids. We have a manufacturing council with whom we work that is comprised of local business owners and manufacturers. On June 4th and June 5th of this year, because we've had so many snow days, as you know, we have some time built in, some extra days, some flex days with our staff. Over 60 of our teachers are going to be taking tours of 4 of our larger manufacturers in Little Falls. Falls Plow, DJ Products, Wabash National, and Airborne. So our teachers can see close up the firsthand, the type of innovative technologies that exist in our local area businesses in Little Falls, and also to hear from the business owners and managers the types of skills, both soft and hard skills, that they are seeking in new employees. This will be the 3rd time that we've taken tours with our teachers. I have 190 teachers in Little Falls who have gotten to see firsthand what CTE education is all about. Many of these teachers are core area teachers who really are used to just the academic part of education. To get them out into the businesses and to see the innovation that our kids that are in the north wing of our building have, mixing CTE with core curriculum has done a wonderful job of getting our core teachers to understand the skills that are necessary for our kids to be successful, whether they go on to a 4-year, 2-year, or right into the job market. These opportunities that we're exploring in Little Falls seek to the subtle changes, and they're very subtle at this point, that need to happen in our schools to reflect our local, our regional, and our state economies. The simple truth is that there's a plethora of good jobs, really good jobs with good benefits, good wages that are available to young people right now in Little Falls and around the state of Minnesota. I firmly believe that your interest in career and tech education and revenue supports on a weekly basis what I hear from our business owners and manufacturing people in Little Falls. Increasing the CTE reimbursement percentage would allow us to enhance the slate of CTE offerings. But just so you know, we're not waiting for you. We're already doing these things because we feel they're so important. So just in the last few years in Little Falls, and we're a school district of 2,500 kids, we graduate about 185 or 190 each year. In the past few years, we've added health occupations. This year, we had 26 students earn their CNA degree, their CNA certification. We added a second full-time ag teacher 3 years ago. We started a 4-year robotics curriculum. This summer, we replaced 16 new welders and bought a CNC plasma cutting table for our kids to get hands-on information and skill sets. This spring, we were honored to be the first school in Minnesota to win an Amazon grant to bring in computer science into our school district. Next year, we have 52 kids signed up for the Computer 1 class, followed up by 2 AP classes that are being offered for computer science. These are all the things that we're doing in Little Falls. In addition, we're starting ProStart Culinary next year in our FACS program at the high school. And so CTE is alive and well in Little Falls. Our concern is how can we continue to keep that going? Our businesses, the relationships that we have with our businesses and manufacturers in Little Falls has blossomed. And through it, the opportunities for us to have kids learning outside of school during the school day has really taken a quantum leap. And our kids are really benefiting from that opportunity. And so the ability for the House and the Senate to consider an increase in the CTE reimbursement from 35 to 50% is huge for us. But not only that, it's the equalization part. To be able to take what you're providing us now in terms of aid and that we are doing at the state or the local level in levy, to flip-flop those kinds of numbers allows me to go to more manufacturers, more job creators in our area who are looking for jobs, or employees, I should say, and say, you now have some money to invest back into our kids specifically because of a new equalization factor at the state. We're going to ask less from you in a levy, and hopefully you can provide us more in opportunities for our kids. And that's why I'm so excited about this. Earlier today, I heard a statement which resonates, and it's one that I say all the time. Meeting children where they're at. Too often in education, we try to get kids to be where we're at, and we miss the boat on that. And I think if we sat down and talked to our kids, they're going to tell us what they're interested in, and we're going to be able to provide more succinctly the opportunities that give them the opportunity to be exactly where they are at. This is a vital piece for me, as Chair Davnie knows. He and I sat on the CTE Educator Licensing Task Force 2 years ago. Currently, I'm a member of the Perkins 5 Secondary Accountability Technical Advising Committee. So for a guy that was raised in Pennsylvania, I've come to Minnesota and have really immersed myself in CTE through my rural education roots. And I want to thank you for your opportunity to continue that work on behalf of our students and staff and families in not only Little Falls, but throughout the state of Minnesota. I'll defer now to my colleague.
Thank you, Superintendent. And Mr. Arsvold, I assume if we're going to meet kids where they're at, some of them are on farms?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but not all.
Not all, no. But if you'd please introduce yourself for the record and then proceed with your testimony.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Paul Arsvold. I'm an agriculture high school teacher in Plainview, Elgin, Melville, down in southeastern Minnesota. We have an average graduating class of 115. I just want to quick say, I maybe should have gone first because he did a really good job. But what does the Career Tech Ed Levy mean to a school like Plainview, Elgin, Melville? The short answer is it allows us to have 3 certified CTE instructors. In our school, we have 2 agriculture education instructors and industrial tech teacher. Other schools might have some business education, CTE licensed teachers, FACS, family and consumer science, health, occupations, but for us, it's the 2 ag and industrial tech teacher. But the levy goes beyond just the 3 staff members. As department budgets have been frozen or shrunken over the years, expenses continue to go. And when we are talking CTE classes, those are some very expensive classes. But that's where the levy comes in. It helps us to be able to offer a full, robust, and variety curriculum to our students. Over the past 5 to 10 years, our school alone, we were able to build a new, more efficient greenhouse for our school, in the long run, saving them money. Our students not only plant and care and raise bedding plants, but they also design the hanging baskets, and we have a wonderful Mother's Day plant sale going on right now. We've been able to update and upgrade our welding facilities, thereby allowing our students, 3 years ago we went in a partnership with Southeast Technical College from Winona and Red Wing, and this past year with Rochester Community and Technical College, where students, after meeting certain thresholds in our welding classes and having the rest of their academic affairs in order, get to forego their second semester of their senior year at the high school, enter a welding program at this year Rochester Community and Technical College, and graduate with a welding certificate. All of those students that have done that are now gainfully employed and contributing back to society. But it goes beyond that. We also teach concurrent classes through the University of Minnesota's College in the School program. And so the expenses of the CIS, the lab days, different things like that are also being able to be reimbursed. Career and technical education opens the eyes and minds of students to a wide array of careers and provides them the skills and foundations needed to be successful, whether they go to a 4-year university, a 2-year technical college, or right out to the workforce. According to the Minnesota Department of Education, students that take 3 or more CTE classes, grades 9 through 12, graduate at 92%, which is 10% higher than the state average. That's what it does currently. So what would an increase look like? The quick short answer would be, to a school our size, about $35,000. But there again, that's just the quick short answer. It would allow us to expand more, offer more students the abilities to develop their passions for their future careers, and give them the skills necessary to succeed. Being mindful of time, a couple of things I would like to leave you with. This would be a local levy, so those people that were elected by those communities, the school board would get to decide at what extent they get to use the levy, just because if it was passed at 50% does not mean they would have to use that 50%.
Mr. Arsvold, before you continue on this path, the House provision is actually aid. So the levy portion would remain at the 35% as is current law. The 15% would be aid, and so not a burden on local taxpayers, but again, a statewide approach to make CTE more available. So I just wanted to.
Thank you for that clarification.
My apologies, but yes.
the last thing I would like to leave you with is that 40 years ago, vocational education, which Career and Tech Ed was known back then, was funded by the state at 50%. Through lots of different factors in the 1980s, that money was reduced and eventually taken away. In about 2002, it was brought back to, I believe, 25%, and then 2011 raised to 35%. And with your support, we would love to get back to that 50%.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time and opportunity to be here.
Let me ask either or both of you two quick questions. One, since you're both from Greater Minnesota, does access to CTE mean more of your graduates stay in your communities after graduation? And if the state were to increase its support for CTE, would we see more students in CTE programs?
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I can answer that. That's an unequivocal yes. In Morrison County, which is where Little Falls is, we generally consider ourselves as a 6-county area. When we poll our kids in surveys about where they're going to prefer to live, our kids want to live in central Minnesota. This is where they want to be. Through the way that our year went last year, I ended up teaching an English class of vocational learner kids. I had 13 kids. 12 of them unequivocally said, I want to live in Little Falls. And so our job as both the school system, because ultimately they're going to marry and have kids who are going to come through our school system, our job is to provide them the best opportunity possible. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we've done a really good job of getting kids to leave and go elsewhere to go to 4-year school and move on with their career. And sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. But what ends up happening is we, in a sense, the kids that stay don't have the same opportunities as the kids that go. And CTE education is their lifeline to really provide themselves a great future. And it's why I am such an adamant supporter of CTE.
Thank you. Any response?
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I totally agree. The more access to CTE is a good thing for Greater Minnesota.
Great, thank you. Any questions from members? Senator Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to comment, as the Senate Ag Chair, I have the opportunity to co-chair MAILC, and I get to work with the ag educators a great deal. And I just want to thank them for all the work that they do and the help that they provide in our farming community, and the fact that they have actually taken on many roles within our school systems because of their training and helping our schools fill a variety of their teaching needs. And I just wanted to make that comment, Mr. Chairman.
You know, Senator Weber, I taught 17 years in Buffalo, and I taught at the middle school, but one year they got a new ag teacher at the high school. And that December, they were selling boxes of citrus fruit as a fundraiser for his program. And I thought, dang, if that guy can raise citrus fruit in Buffalo, Minnesota, he's good. Gentlemen, thank you both for your time today. Next up, Ms. White. Senator, this is a provision that is not in the Senate bill. We know that our communities of color experience health disparities. We know that our communities of color experience education disparities or achievement differences. This is a request that we look at where those two overlap. It's a Venn diagram in my mind. Ms. White, please introduce yourself. Welcome to the committee. Please introduce yourself and proceed.
Thank you.
Mr.
Senator.
Chair, just tell us where the bill is, and we'll follow along. So where would we see it on our side-by-sides?
I'm looking for somebody to throw me a lifeline. Ms. Barrow.
Mr. Chair, I believe that is in Article 5. Page R31.
Page R31.
Thank you.
For those following along at home. Ms. White, while we're all thumbing through our papers, you can begin.
So I introduce myself?
Thank you.
Yes. Madam Chair and Chair Davnie, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jaton White. I am the manager and community wellness consultant from the Northside Achievement Zone. I appreciate Davnie, Representative Davnie, for this bill. It is imperative for a variety of reasons, which I think we've heard a lot of those today. So I'm going to talk about my work as it pertains to this bill at the Northside Achievement Zone. I'd also like to take a pause and make sure that I say something about the Educational Partnerships Coalition. We wouldn't be able to do this work without them. So to best describe the work and how it interrupts the pattern with children of color and indigenous children, and impacts the disparities of education, health, and mental health, I'm going to share a story of our work. And with the work of the Northside Achievement Zone, we've taken a trauma-informed approach to our work in our school buildings. And in 2017, we were asked by one of our school partners to come into a building where we had high levels of toxic stress. And when I say high levels of toxic stress, I do mean that there were children being pulled from the school. Educators were literally walking out of the building and calling it quits. And so the executive director asked us to come in with our lens for some outside support. And what we decided was that the levels of toxic stress were actually in the bodies of the adults that were caring for the children. And so thus dysregulating the children throughout the day. And so no learning was able to happen. Instead, we were re-triggering and reharming. So what we did was take our same framework, which we formerly called our behavioral health framework, renamed it, because when you say behavioral health to adults in schools, they automatically think we're talking about the children. And we weren't at this particular time. So we renamed our framework to be the community wellness framework. That way we can grab and support everybody in the building, including those parents that are outside of the school building during most of the time. And what we found when doing that work individually with the teachers and in cohorts with the partnership of Washburn Children and Family Support, that we have 100% buy-in from all staff to return for the 2019-2020, that sounds weird to say already, school year. And children and families are increasing their enrollment. So I asked you to take a hard look at what Representative Davnie is asking you to do with this particular bill because of the implications that it does have for our children of color and our indigenous children. And I'm happy to take any questions about our work at the Northside Achievement Zone.
Thank you very much. So, Madam Chair, while Ms. White talked about mental health concerns, it could be mental health disparities, it could be asthma, it could be diabetes, it could be, I don't sit on HHS, but there's any number of places where we see health disparities, where we also see educational disparities, and we're looking to see, are there places where we can identify that overlap in that Venn diagram and then target responses. And without that study, we don't know where those opportunities lie. Questions from members? Representative Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually do sit on the HHS committee. And,
Condolences.
yes. Fair enough. Anyway, and I certainly would agree with you. And actually, that's why our Early Childhood Committee reports to both the Health and Human Services Committee and the Education Committee. Is certainly at those very youngest years, I feel like we can see it most clearly, that link. That really, it's hard to think of when you think of a little, of a very young child, the line between education and learning and development starts getting really, and then the health impacts. And so, but I so much appreciate this as then recognizing that really continues all the way on through.
Yes, sir.
Pretty hard to concentrate on learning if there are health issues the child's experiencing and the broader context. Anyway, so I really, as somebody who does come a little more from that background, want to very much speak in support of this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You know, Representative Pinto, by raising early childhood, you bring to mind that the U.S.'s rates on maternal and child health for women of color, particularly African-American women, are abysmal, appalling. We rank amongst third world countries, quite frankly. And when we think about where kids are starting out, when mom is not doing well immediately postpartum, what is the impact on that? Representative Pinto, I started you
well,
off.
I can't resist just pointing out, we talk a lot about the opportunity gap, the achievement gap, and we talk about that it starts early before kindergarten. We're going to have a lot of discussion about various early learning approaches, but I want to point out that gap is paralleled in prenatal care disparities, that moms of color receive less prenatal care and lower quality prenatal care at rates that pretty much parallel the testing results when a child is in elementary school, secondary school, et cetera. And so I just want to point out, as we're thinking about how to close the achievement gap, opportunity gap, there's a lot that we discuss in this conference committee and the education committees, recognizing that actually starts before birth in prenatal care, and then it just continues right along there. So I think that this integrative approach is just terrific. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from members? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you guys for your time.
Principal Fearing.
Where's the language?
Can someone identify for me where the language on early middle college is in the bill? There was a slight grimace from our nonpartisan staff. Ms. Pero.
Mr. Chair, it's Article 2, Sections 36 and 37 of the House bill. I'm not sure what page that is.
Ooh, now it's erased.
Mr. Chair, it's pages R44 to R45. It's 2 sections.
Thank you very much. Principal Fearing, welcome to the committee. Thank you for coming in today. Please introduce yourself for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Amy Fearing. I am the principal of Wellstone International High School, Minneapolis Public Schools. Good afternoon, Chair Nelson, Chair Davnie, and members of the committee. I feel like I'm the teacher of the final period of the day with 5 minutes to the bell. I'm going to do my best to keep you going here. But no, thank you so much for having us here this afternoon. I'm here in support of the provisions in the House bill expanding early middle college access for late arriving English learners. This was originally introduced by Representative Noor in the House and will include an amendment to early middle college eligibility. The Senate carried this last year and the House is carrying it this year. So I'm hoping that we can have both of you together on it currently. The amendment would include three parts. One, it would make students who meet the students would have to meet 3 out of the 5 SLIFE criteria instead of 5 out of the 5. It would remove the requirement that students be in the program the year before, because again, we're talking about late arriving refugee and immigrant students. And then would also make this permanent. So as much as I love coming here every year, I wouldn't have to keep coming every year. So Wellstone, just for background, Wellstone International High School is a school in Minneapolis Public Schools. It's a traditional high school. It's not alternative. Our school is just like LEAP, who was just here a few minutes ago. We also serve 100% of English learners, mostly our late arriving refugee and immigrant students. While some may view our students' needs as deficits, we turn our view to assets and set the course for our students to succeed higher and farther than they ever believed was possible. Some of you may have visited our school to see that in action. We expect not only our students to graduate with a high school diploma within 4 to 7 years, but we also expect them to qualify, apply, and enroll in post-secondary options. And again, by late arriving, I mean that these students have come well within their teenage years to the United States. Many have come from very traumatic situations, and so sometimes school isn't on the forefront of their minds, but we help them to understand the possibilities that they will have if they continue their education here. We're hyper-focused and passionate on providing opportunities and access for English learners to post-secondary options, whether it be in college or career. One important program at Wellstone is our partnership with the Minneapolis Community College through the D3 program. The D3 program falls under the Early Middle College program, for which we are asking for the amendment to allow more English learners access and opportunity. We have seen great success with the inclusion of the Early Middle College program at Wellstone, including high graduation rates and college enrollment, and as well as retention rates in college of our D3 students. In fact, tonight and then tomorrow, I'm going to a lot of commencement ceremonies of our D3 students who are graduating from college now. In the past few days, Wellstone has undergone a 2-day evaluation review, and during the review, a student panel was necessary. A student who was part of the interview talked about his experience in the D3 program, as well as experience at Wellstone. The comments that the student made revolved on why he was actually sad that day because it was finals week at MCTC, and he was going to be leaving his group of cohort students because he's graduating this year. He said that this was his first year in the D3 program. He's seen a huge change in himself and future planning. He is graduating in 19 days. I'm counting. After being in the United States for only 3 years, he has applied and been accepted to MCTC. He also has his eye on Augsburg, and it was interesting because he engaged in a conversation with our interviewer about what our interviewer thought was best for him, a 2-year or a 4-year, going straight into a 4-year. The student stated high expectation with support has made college now possible for him. He talked about the positive impact on the culture of our building, and that students who go to or are part of the D3 program bring back the independence and, most importantly, hope to their peers. If he could be here today, I know he would be asking to allow this experience for more late arriving English learners, as it has turned his life around, as well as for the other 49 students who are in our D3 program right now. Students who have participated in the D3 program have higher than district and state graduation rates. Over the last 2 years, we've had 89 to 100% graduation rate of our D3 students who participate in the D3 program. So here with me is Mr. Chris Stoltenberg. He's our college and career advisor and teacher at our high school. He will highlight the success of current and past D3 students in their experiences past high school. With the amount of data we are now collecting about the positive social, emotional, and academic success of early middle college English learners, we need your support in the amendment that will allow more late arriving English learners this opportunity to be successful and have a positive impact on their communities.
Thank you very much, Principal. Mr. Filbert, please welcome to the committee. State your name for the record and proceed.
Thank you. Chair Davnie, Chair Nelson, committee members, thank you so much for your time. My name is Chris Stoltenberg. I'm the Career and College Coordinator at Wellstone International High School. I just wanted to briefly kind of highlight some data on the one-pager that I believe you all received entitled Early Middle College, Wellstone International High School and MCTC Partnership, just on some data that we're seeing on the impact of this program. So from our class of 2016, we had 39 graduates. Of those 39 students, 22 participated in the early middle college programming while in high school. And all 22 of those students enrolled in college after graduating from high school in a variety of institutions. Following those students, 21 of them were still enrolled in college their second year. And as they currently are finishing up their third year, Principal Fearing, as she mentioned, we're fortunate enough to be attending MCTC's graduation tonight to celebrate 12 of them. We'll be going to Duluth tomorrow to celebrate 2 students who will be finishing their 4-year degree in 3.5 years, muchly due to this early middle college programming while in high school. Another student who's at Augsburg who will also be finishing in 3.5 years, and 2 students at St. Catherine's University who will be finishing next year, with one of them just recently being elected the student body president. Additionally, we're seeing similar trends as on that document that one-pager shows from the class of 2017. We had 69 graduates, 30 participated in the early middle college programming, and 93% of those 30 students, so 28, enrolled in college after they graduated from high school. Thank you so much for your time, and we're happy to take any questions.
All right. Thank you both very much. Questions from members? Powerful opportunity for our late arriving students. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Keekley, and members, this regards student press freedom and is in Article 2, Section 22, page R27, A2. 27A2. Yes, Article 2. Ms. Keekley, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. I appreciate being here today. My name is Lori Keekley, and I teach journalism and English at St. Louis Park High School. I also serve as the Journalism Education Association Scholastic Press Rights Committee Director and was the 2016 Dow Jones National News Advisor of the Year. I am here to support HF24 Article 2, Section 22, Student Journalism, Student Expression, which outlines the role of journalism students and administration. I know censorship and self-censorship exists. I worked with several schools concerning the censorship in Minnesota. In fact, many of these local students shared their stories last year when we had our lobby day.
Thank you.
For many, they are told by their administration they can't cover topics because they're too controversial. However, As we know, students are talking about these issues in social media, lunch, and the hallways. We also know that censorship often leads to self-censorship. Last year, we asked several students across the state of Minnesota what they would cover if they could without any retribution or fear of retribution or judgment. A sampling of those stories include everything from the vilification of conservative viewpoints to racism to where the money that they pay for their parking passes actually go. This bill does explicitly protect political speech. However, the problem of censorship can be fixed. In 1965, 3 students wore black armbands to peacefully protest the Vietnam War. This one act eventually led to the 1969 Tinker Supreme Court decision that famously stated, "Neither students or teachers shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech at the schoolhouse gate." Other rulings since then have made the role of student journalists and administrators less clear. We are asking for you to restore Minnesota schools to the Tinker standards, just as 14 other states have done. My students are lucky enough to function under the Tinker standard because we have administrators who value student voice, but we are the minority in Minnesota. My editors make all content decisions, and by empowering their voices, the students learn not only to report on issues important to teens, but also they learn the responsibility and importance of discussing these issues. By allowing students to robustly tell their stories, they learn to research for context and interview all stakeholders. They learn how to produce credible journalism. I wish you could see my students when they have an editorial board discussion, or at 7:30 this morning when I was dropping off my sub-plans and they were figuring out what content they wanted to use for the next 4 weeks until graduation. It's a wonderful experience, and I'm lucky enough to be there. During these robust discussions, they engage with one another because they know they have the ability to affect change or shine light on important issues to students. They want to make a positive impact and evaluate how we all can improve. However, they would never do this if they feared administrative retribution or censorship. Instead, the students at St. Louis Park know the school and community value and empower their voice. My students develop their voices in a safe environment under my supervision, and they know their rights do come with boundaries. Similarly, in this legislation, speech that is profane, obscene, bully, libelous, or an invasion of privacy, all are explicitly prohibited. What Minnesota students and advisors are asking for isn't new. California has had a similar law in place since 1977, before the Hazelwood decision that narrowed student-free expression ever was decided. This legislation isn't just on the coast. Similar legislation has passed in 13 other states, including Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, North Dakota, which was unanimous, by the way, and recently Washington. The empowerment of voices leads to increased civic engagement. Journalism advisors could have anecdotally told you this many, many years, but now we have a study to prove it. The study, titled Civic Engagement Among High School Students from the University of Kansas, noted an increase in civic involvement from those who have been part of journalism programs. In fact, many of my students have been in front of you. We are not alone in support of this issue. Several organizations have also endorsed this legislation or passed resolutions, including the Journalism Education Association, National Scholastic Press Association, Society of Professional Journalists, National Council of Teachers of English, American Bar Association, American Society of News Editors, and Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication. Let's empower student voices to tell their stories by clarifying the roles of administrators and student journalists. Please include Article 2, Section 22. The students need to know you value their voices as much as we do. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you, Ms. Keekly. Questions from members? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Butel, Assistant Commissioner Butel, thank you very much for your patience today. Madam Chair, the topic here is discipline disparities in our state. Mr. Butel is Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Human Rights. As you know, they've been identifying those districts with the greatest disparity in discipline, by race, have been positively engaging those districts, but there's work that we can do to support the sort of issues that they've identified and that the Community Coalition wants to see progress on to make sure that we have more equitable educational outcomes. Assistant Commissioner, please introduce yourself for the tape and proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Davnie, Chair Nelson, and members of the committee.
Assistant Commissioner, let me pause you.
Not a problem.
Article 2, sections 13 to 21, pages R23A2, or starting on. Thank you. Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Chair Nelson, and members of the committee. Thank you for having me today. For the record, my name is Scott Butel. I am the Assistant Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Human Rights. I appreciate Chair Davnie and the committee taking time today to discuss the issue of ensuring that our school discipline policies and practices are serving all of Minnesota's kids. This is a discussion about school discipline, but it's also about taking deliberate steps towards building fully inclusive communities. You'll find a letter in your packets, I believe, from Commissioner Rebecca Lucero regarding her support for ensuring that non-exclusionary discipline policies and practices are implemented in Minnesota's schools. I believe you'll also find a 2-page document detailing some of the department's work in this area. The Minnesota Human Rights Act opens by stating that it is the public policy of the state to secure for persons in this state freedom from discrimination. It goes on to state that such discrimination threatens the rights and privileges of the inhabitants of this state and menaces the institutions and foundations of democracy. I read those words from the Minnesota Human Rights Act because I oftentimes ground to those words as I think about our work to address disparities and bias within the state of Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Human Rights is dedicated to the work of making Minnesota a state where all Minnesotans, including all students, can live lives of dignity, opportunity, and joy. We have legal requirements to ensure that all students, including students with disabilities and students of color, are not discriminated against in public services and education. Perhaps more importantly, though, we have a moral obligation to ensure that all of our kids have the opportunity to grow, succeed, and thrive. One thing that we know is that when students aren't in class, they can't learn. We need to ensure that the adults in our schools develop and implement policies that ensure that taking kids out of our classrooms is a last resort, only after other positive interventions have been tried. We also know that in Minnesota schools, students of color, Indigenous students, and students with disabilities are suspended and expelled at much higher rates than their white peers. For example, students with disabilities are twice as likely to be suspended or expelled. Students of color overall are also twice as likely to be suspended or expelled. Black students are 8 times more likely to be suspended or expelled than their peers. Finally, Indigenous students in Minnesota are 10 times more likely to be suspended or expelled. These numbers are incredibly stark. These disparities are incredibly broad. But we should also keep in mind as we have this conversation that these disparities are actually worse than the national averages. Across the U.S., black students are 3.5 times more likely to be suspended than their white peers. In Minnesota, again, that number is 8 times. Nationally, Indigenous students are 5 times more likely to be suspended than their peers. In Minnesota, that's 10 times. Bluntly, Minnesota's gaps are far worse than the nation as a whole. We are not living up to our promise to provide opportunities for all of our kids. I know that as a state, we have long prided ourselves as being a national leader in education. And these disparities and the fact that they are far worse than the national average is deeply troubling. The Minnesota Department of Human Rights has been working over the last several years with 43 school districts and charter schools around Minnesota to come up with plans to improve these outcomes for students with disabilities, students of color, and frankly, all the students in their schools, because we know that schools with high rates of suspension and expulsion, that actually has negative consequences, not just for the students who are suspended and expelled, but for other students within that school, particularly from groups with high rates of disparity. And we've made great strides in coordinating with these schools and charters and with the Department of Education to convene collaborative conversations about policies and practices, about implementation, and about engagement with communities. These 43 districts and charters enroll approximately 40% of all students in Minnesota. But I think we also know in having these conversations that 100% of our kids in this state will benefit from policies and practices that look for the teachable moment when there are behavioral issues. Often, students are suspended for low-level subjective issues. That is what we see in the data that the schools themselves provide to MDE as part of the Disciplinary Incident Reporting System, DIRS. For example, right now, 36% of suspensions are for disruptive and disorderly conduct. So over 1/3 of the kids being removed from classrooms are there because essentially they've been mouthing off. There are better ways to approach these issues. One, where adults work to keep kids in the classroom, improve learning outcomes, and address discipline issues in more durable, transformational ways. For some perspective, in the 2017-2018 year, as a state, we suspended 18,151 kids for disrespect and disorderly conduct. 18,151. In comparison, 2,121 kids were suspended for illegal drugs and 5,227 for assault. We're suspending far more students for highly subjective criteria, which are more prone to bias, than for more serious issues that we would, I think, all agree might potentially relate to safety. Looking bigger picture, 55% of suspensions and expulsions are for subjective reasons. If you look on the second page of the handout, when the department did this work, the criteria that are in gray, or I think if they were printed in color might be in green, would be the criteria that the department referred to as being subjective criteria. Those are ones where there's some high degree of decision autonomy for the individual in choosing that discipline. And so I think when we see high degrees of subjectivity, there's a real opportunity for our bias, not necessarily willful bias, but the biases that we all carry with us, those implicit biases, to enter into our decision making. And I think this is part of why it is just so critical that before students are suspended or expelled, taken from the classroom, and had that opportunity for learning denied, that we really try to avail ourselves of other more positive reinforcement. And so that's been the work of the department that we've been doing collaboratively now with these districts and charters. And I know we are close to the end of the day, and I don't want to keep you longer, but as this conference committee moves forward in seeking an agreement, I hope that you'll include language about ensuring that non-exclusionary discipline is something that all of Minnesota's schools are looking towards as a model, and finding ways that within their own local entities, they adopt policies and practices that fit with their local needs, but also help to ensure that all of our students are in the classroom and that we're starting to close some of these disparities that are worse than the national averages. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Assistant Commissioner. Appreciate it. Questions from members? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Davnie, Chair Nelson, and members.
And that means, batting last, Ms. Bolger. Thank you for your patience today. Madam Chair, this is another example of the House's focus on statewide initiatives. And here I see a tie into that CTE and as well as college and university, in that this is a STEM-focused program targeted at girls, and that also works heavily with students of color and low-income students, so that we're getting the emphasis on disparities again. And I know that the tech industry is looking to have a more diverse workforce. They're very clear about that, and that this would be a way to respond to that. So, Ms. Bolger.
Okay, thank you.
And it is, hold on, the citation, Section 34, Subdivision 27, page R70 in Article 2.
Chair
Bolger,
Davnie, Chair Nelson, thank you so much. Members of the committee, we really appreciate being here today. And it looks like maybe I should have brought Girl Scout cookies to get everybody a little sugar rush. And,
Always the right answer.
That being the last of the day, or maybe I could break out in some Girl Scout singing, and we could sing along and kind of get the energy pumped up. So I'm here to talk to you about the bill, and this bill helps close the opportunity and the graduation gaps for girls from underserved and under-resourced communities across Minnesota. The Girl Scouts Connects program partners with over 100 schools and community organizations to bring a holistic and culturally responsive leadership program to over 3,500 girls throughout Minnesota. And the program focuses on developing skills in the areas of college and career readiness, healthy relationships, self-esteem, STEM, financial literacy, and service learning. Girl Scouts participating in the Connects program attend weekly sessions and hands-on learning opportunities. They have college tours, career exploration events, camp experiences. And the Connects program is delivered by trained youth development professionals from the communities that we serve. And it's offered where girls already are, in schools, in community centers, public housing sites, shelters, in neighborhoods. And right now, 90% of our staff leading the Connects program identify as women of color. Our staff partners work closely with counselors, social workers, other school and program staff to identify girls who lack access to quality program and need support. The Connects program focuses on engaging low-income girls and girls of color and is provided at no cost to girls and families. This bill would grant Girl Scouts River Valleys funding and would allow us to serve as a fiscal agent, partnering with the Lakes and Pines and the Dakota Horizons Girl Scout Councils to ensure that girls across our state have access to these amazing and transformative experiences. The bill includes an ongoing reporting requirement on the use of the funds, data tracking related to program outcomes. We are preparing girls to be fearless. We're preparing girls to be the creators of their future, and the research provides compelling evidence that Girl Scouts stand out significantly, demonstrating a stronger propensity for success. Girl Scouts are more likely to exhibit strong leadership outcomes, earn excellent grades, expect to graduate from high school and college, aspire to STEM, business, and law careers, feel hopeful about their future. And the benefits of Girl Scouting are not exclusive to any particular demographic. All girls are equally able to thrive and do well in Girl Scouting, regardless of their social class, their zip code, race, ethnicity, faith practice, or degree of engagement in any other extracurricular activities. This means that no matter where girls live or what their age or background, Girl Scouts will spark their imagination and ensure that they'll thrive. Some of the academic outcomes that we have in our Connects program include 73% of girls say they're more confident in school because of Girl Scouts. 93% of girls say they almost always or often try hard at school. 82% of girls say they have average or better grades in school, and 87% say they know they will graduate from high school. Our partners say that the Connects girls' attendance improves, behavior improves, and disciplinary action decreases. 80% of female tech leaders are Girl Scouts. 50% of women business leaders were Girl Scouts alum. In this last midterm election, 73% of U.S. senators were Girl Scouts. The Connects program seeks to create a future female leaders of color by providing Girl Scout programming to underserved girls. We will make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bolger. Questions from members? Senator Nelson, were you a Girl Scout?
I was a Girl Scout.
Why am I not surprised?
So, Ms. Bolger, good to
Yes.
see you again. Thank you for coming and talking about Girl Scouts and Girl Scouts Connects. And we know, the DNA of Girl Scouts: courage, confidence, character. We want to see that.
To make the world a better place.
It makes
Thank
the
you.
world a better
Thank you,
place.
Chair
We want to see
Nelson.
that in all of our women, actually, all of our folks. Here's my question, though.
Sure.
I'm reading the letter, and I'm just curious, why is this just benefiting underserved girls in Minnesota? And I remember visiting Girl Scout Connects in Rochester, and it was just our underserved kids. And I'm thinking, well, Why would we want to do that? Would we not want all of our girls to be able to participate? And wouldn't we want to be able to have that mixing of underserved girls and kids that have all the advantages in front of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why is this just limited to underserved girls?
Sure, that's a
Ms.
great.
Bolger.
Yep, thank you very much. That's a great question. So the Girl Scout program is throughout Minnesota. We have over 45,000 girls in Minnesota who are Girl Scouts, and this program is really targeted for particular girls who have really a difficult time with access. So girls who have not had the opportunity to benefit from a Girl Scout experience that's been led by volunteers. So this is primarily a staff-driven opportunity for girls. Most of our Girl Scout troops are led by volunteers in the community, and volunteers are involved with the Connects program too. But the trained professionals that we have, the staff that we have for our Connects, are really people who can address the specific needs of the girls in those areas and really make sure that they're able to access the program opportunities. And to your point about having an opportunity to mix with other girls, that happens all the time in our program because the girls in the Connects program are still Girl Scouts. So they go to camp with other Girl Scouts. They go to have programs with other Girl Scouts. So they see themselves as being part of a bigger sisterhood. And that's really important to what benefits are for the program because they see themselves in being able to achieve what other Girl Scouts have done before them.
Senator?
Just one follow-up.
Sure.
So when we're thinking about the girls, the Girl Scout Connects, we're thinking about them in like Mayo High School, for
Yep.
example. Are there not other Girl Scout troops as well?
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't it, I'm just curious would it be more helpful if the girls from the Girl Scout Connects were part of the Girl Scout troops of those girls that they go to high school with?
Yeah.
Ms. Bolger.
Sure, thank you very much. So in some cases, those troops operate at different times of the day. The girls that we serve in Girl Scout Connects also have a lot of challenges and barriers to be able to access after-school programming, so they may do it during the day at school. In some situations, those troops have different focuses, so there may be a troop that's led by volunteers that has an interest more in the outdoors and maybe doesn't need as much support around college preparation or career exploration, and so the Connects group can have that, but they still are able to interact in different, when we have what's called service units. And so what these girls are able to do is interact together when the service unit or the bigger groups of Girl Scouts get together in Rochester. So they can share program together, but they still have needs that some of the other troops don't, primarily because of the barriers that they have and the experiences that they need kind of to get a leg up on some of the things that they want to do.
Senator?
No more questions. Were you a Boy Scout?
I was.
Okay,
I was.
just checking.
So,
I'm
yeah,
not surprised.
Yeah,
All right.
no.
All right.
Representative Pinto, do you want to identify your adolescent?
Have you heard of Webelos?
Webelos?
Webelos, Mr. Chair.
Okay, very good.
So just wanted to, 4-H over there, okay. Can you just talk
We could go around the table, but let's not. Representative Pinto.
We certainly could. My microphone seems especially loud, so I'm going to back off a little more. Can you talk just a little more about the benefit of having that mixing of kids, of girls from different backgrounds, different income levels, kind of building on the questions that you're being asked
Yeah, sure.
about that benefit? It seems like there's a real benefit of that when you have that kind of broader approach
Sure.
to mixing the kids.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So there's a group of girls that we serve in Girl Scouts Connects who their access to program is limited. And so what we do is we identify these girls with our partners in schools and public housing sites, in communities, in different places where we go, that we know that these girls need some more support, right? So we provide them with a staff-driven, staff-led a curriculum that's a Girl Scout curriculum that somebody's there every week where those girls are and provide that program for them. And they have a troop, they have a sisterhood. And we have over 5,000 troops, for example, just in the metro area. So each troop is a little bit different. And some are led by volunteers, some are led by staff. We have a new program where there are mentored troops where it's a staff person who's mentoring a volunteer to kind of help that troop get off the ground. And then we have these large programs throughout the year where all Girl Scouts get together. It doesn't matter if you come and we have girls that we call Juliets. They're solo Girl Scouts. So those Girl Scouts come and they come by themselves, or they might come with a family. They come with their troops. They're Connects girls that come. Some girls only participate in Girl Scouting when they go to camp. So there's lots of different ways that you can participate in the program, but that you still understand that you're part of the sisterhood. You're part of the group of women and young women who are gone before you, and they help mentor you and kind of pull you along. And so this program is supporting girls who have challenges and barriers that some of the other girls might not have, and we're able to address that and give them an opportunity to participate in Girl Scouting where otherwise they wouldn't have that opportunity. And it's going to give them a leg up. It's going to give them an opportunity to be somebody and to thrive. And we want that for all of our Girl Scouts. And they're all going to be able to do that. But it's delivered in different ways, whatever is going to be best for that girl in that community.
Representative Pinto? All right. Any other comments or questions from members? Representative Youakim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just want to make sure, because I was in 4-H, not Girl Scouts, but from what I understand.
4-H is a great program.
My niece is in Girl Scouts, and so is my godchild. So that's more, the traditional Girl Scout troop is more parent-driven, right? This gives an opportunity for girls that might not have parents that are able to engage to be part of this too. Is that accurate? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. Yes, so some of the barriers would include parents who have 2 or 3 jobs and aren't able to, serve or be a troop leader. Girls who have to go home and take care of their siblings or have to work. Girls who, may not have weekends available but have time during the week to be able to do Girl Scouting. So it's a way to be able to give those girls that chance and that opportunity, even though their parents may not be able to support that. And that's been so terrific because the program has been so successful, and we've been asked by so many other schools to be able to start new Connects troops, have younger girls be involved in Connects groups. So it's such an opportunity to be able to do that for girls who typically wouldn't be able to access Girl Scouting.
Representative Youakim. All right. Senator Wiger.
Tiger Cubs, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. My 4 daughters must have sold 1 million boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Finally, Bobby Joe Champion has been a very spirited supporter for the program, and I just wanted you
Very good.
to know that again.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Ms. Bolger, I was just thinking about the growth in Girl Scouts or the trajectory of growth in Girl Scouts. My comment to the chair about Boy Scouts made me think about, I know the Boy Scouts are seeing some declines in participation, and I'm just wondering, not necessarily the Girl Scout Connects, but those other troop type of Girl Scouts, what type of participation are you seeing? Are you seeing any trends in that type of troop participation?
Yeah,
Ms. Bolger.
Thank you. That's a great question. There have been 4-H, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, some kind of traditional Y programs have all seen kind of a decline over the last 10 years with certain aspects of their program. We, as a national organization, have seen some declines in the state of Minnesota, and also now around the country, we're starting to see more well, our retention rates for Girl Scouts is very, very good. So once you become a Girl Scout, you generally stay for quite some time. The acquisition of new girls is a little bit lower than what it has been in the past, but we're starting to see that improve. So the trend is actually now improving, I'm happy to say, and we're excited about that. So that's really our bright spot. And I think a lot of that has to do is that we've been continued to stay really relevant. We introduced 31 new badges in the last couple of years that range anywhere from cybersecurity to space exploration to programming robots. And that's from kindergarten all the way through seniors in high school.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Bolger, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for your service to the citizens of Minnesota.
Thank you. With that, Madam Chair, we have completed the list of the review of the aspects of the bill that were unique to the House. Wanted to spend some time with that. So over this last week, we've walked through the side-by-sides so that everybody's aware of what's in both bills. We have yesterday, you took the lead in presenting aspects of your bill that were not sided up with aspects of our bill so that we could understand them. We've returned the favor today. We've asked several times to pass sames and similars, pass technical amendments, set up work groups. The House is ready and willing to get to work. The people of Minnesota want us to get to work. We've been waiting. You've been declining. What I would propose is that we establish some work groups. We've got a couple of areas that are not particularly contentious, but have some differences. I trust my conferees to be able to dig in on these areas and work independently. That would allow us to work through portions of the bill to set us up to best be able to complete the session on time, complete this bill in a timely fashion, as Minnesota expects us to do. So I would like to propose several working groups here. One looking at PSEO. We both appreciate that, and that's a part of the House's take on building varied bridges to post-secondary. How can we launch students along a path that they wish to? And PSEO is a piece of that. I would ask Representative Urdahl to lead that from the House side, a GOP member, but I know he's got a real passion in this area, and I certainly would trust him to work deliberatively and confidently and hopefully check in with me occasionally. I don't need to be at the table for everything. As I said, I trust my members. Representative Pinto, with his, particularly his professional background as a prosecutor, to look at school safety. I think he's got some unique perspective there. We've also both got some provisions around libraries. That's not strictly a K-12 thing, but it is part of our work here. And of course, lays a base for lifelong learning in Minnesota. And Representative Sandstede is an advocate for libraries. So we could have another working group looking at libraries. And then we've got a series of proposals dealing with lead in both bills. I think we have one on radon and you as well, I believe. And Representative Youakim is very familiar with that kind of cluster of proposals around environment and health and safety. So, and what do we, BIE schools. We take some different perspectives on BIE schools, but we'd be glad to work on that as well. These work groups could get started over the weekend. I don't think anybody's traveling long distances to get home this weekend, although Mother's Day is Sunday, and I'm well aware. Opening of fishing season is tomorrow. Senator Eichorn, were you planning on going fishing tomorrow?
Planning on being home for Mother's Day for sure.
Okay.
I would like to go fishing tomorrow. That's very much my district.
Can you fish? Can you fish on Sunday?
I'm doing whatever my wife wants on Sunday.
Smart answer.
All right.
Right answer.
But Senator, the House has wanted to get to work we'd like to get to work. Minnesota expects us to get to work. Is the Senate ready to get to work?
Oh, Mr. Chair, I am so glad you've put so much thought into this. Definitely the Senate is ready to go to work. And the only thing we are waiting on, which we all have to wait on, which is those three-way budget targets, which we hope our leadership has good success as they're out fishing in a boat tomorrow, I believe. So that is the linchpin of what we need to do, is those joint budget targets. We are expecting those soon. We're hoping for a fruitful fishing catch in many ways here. But tomorrow we will hold a hearing at 2 o'clock. And I've asked staff to go through and they have a list of sames, similars, and those things that are just have some technical differences. And so those are things that I believe that we can do and we should do while we're still waiting for those budget targets. Regarding work groups, as I had mentioned to you before, our 67 senators need to staff as many conference committees as your 134 House members do. We do not have the ability. We have members, and as I said, I don't think we've ever had a full complement of Minnesota senators at this conference committee. Because we've had different...
I can assure you we have.
Oh, I'm so glad we have.
We don't have right now.
We don't have right
I'll
now.
grant you
Many
that.
times we have not. And the other thing I did want to correct is our members travel from a good distance. So, and I realize that's going to be a hardship for them to come in on Saturday, as it will be for me as well. I'll be headed back to Rochester tonight for an event in Rochester tomorrow, but need to be back here so we can do the people's work, and we will get started on those sames, similars, and technicals. So 2 o'clock tomorrow.
2 o'clock tomorrow. Senator Representative Pinto.
And I just want to note, I do know that there are other conference committees staffed by senators that do have working groups that are going. So I know, for example, Health and Human Services does have that going, just for what that's worth. That may not be something that's applicable in our particular case, but I did just want to make sure to note being aware of those other committees as well.
So, Senator, do you want to take a moment now? We could even recess for a few minutes if need be to assign senators to the working groups that I've outlined and tasked my colleagues with.
No, Senator, excuse me, Chair.
I'll forgive it
Chair
this time.
Davnie, yeah, exactly. No, we're not going to proceed down the working group path right now. I believe that keeps things out of the eye of the public. I'm very much a person who believes that these discussions need to be in the eye of the public. They need to be noticed, so the public has noticed what these things are about, what these discussions are about. And I believe we can get our work done starting tomorrow with similars, and technical differences. We'll hope we get those budget targets soon. But when it comes to those type of things, I think it's important that those deliberations be in front of the public.
Madam Chair, I agree. I don't think we need to wait on budget targets to get working on that. Do you plan on adopting sames and similars tomorrow?
That would be my intention.
Okay.
So we'll be here at 2 o'clock. We'll look at sames, similars, technical, and we'll see how, I do anticipate us having as much work as we can have done before we get those budget targets, those joint targets.
I'm hoping that, the Senate has been absent from, the Senate leadership has been absent from negotiations this week. I am hoping that you'll communicate with Senator Gazelka that he'd previously agreed to a deadline of last Monday.
I believe all our leaders agreed to a deadline last Monday, so let's make sure
the
that's
Senate
clear.
has not been at the table, has not been willing to, try to avoid the experience that Minnesota has seen far too often, which is that the end of session becomes chaotic and sometimes gets pushed over into special sessions that are unnecessary. And that if Senator Gazelka were willing to come to the table and comply with the deadlines that he previously agreed to, we could be having a much richer experience in this conference committee. Minnesota could see us getting the work done, and we could end the session in an orderly and timely fashion.
Well, Representative
Senator
Davnie.
Wiger, you had your hand up.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, I think at least a couple of the members on our side aren't going to be here tomorrow. I will cancel going to a family wedding, which I really should be at. if it's important to adopt same and similars, and I will stay here all night and we can continue. I met with Representative Pinto this morning early in the spirit of looking at some of the early ed provisions. But if we're here promptly at 2 o'clock, do you think within 1 hour we can adopt the same and similars? What I don't want is to just wait for till 3 o'clock and then maybe 4 o'clock, then 5, and then nothing happens.
Well, Senator Wiger, that's a significant inconvenience. And the House has been willing to go on adopting same and similars for several days now. Madam Chair, why don't we get to work right now? We've got a list of same and similars. Staff has it. Sames. So we could start moving right now on and adopting things that are identical in both bills. That would allow, if we could get some decent work done, I'd of course defer to you. You have the gavel tomorrow, whether you also wanted to meet tomorrow. But we could potentially get to a point where we could get some of our work done, finally, and maybe even allow Senator Wiger to go to the family wedding. Maybe Senator Jasinski and Senator Weber could return if they've left and come back to the work of the conference committee. Should we, I'm ready to take off my coat, roll up my sleeves, and let's get to work, Madam Chair. Are you?
Mr.
Missing the,
Chair.
minus the sleeves part.
I'll keep my sleeves.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Chair, there's just a couple issues here. Number one, to take on the Senate for not negotiating is wrong. It's out of your jurisdiction and mine. So I would say just set that aside and let's try and work to get things completed here and done, instead of trying to point fingers and place blame. That's what's wrong with what happens up here all too often, and I refuse to participate in that. So let's just set that aside. Your agenda was incomplete today in that it, as of this morning or last night, it just said there would be budget provisions, and then you had another provision which was budget and policy, and a highly controversial ones. But we just kind of let that go, and unfortunately, people didn't have an opportunity to actually participate in that discussion. But you know, there are but to your suggestion about sames, similars, and technical changes was not on the agenda. And so I'm going to, you know, Senator Wiger, we're all going to have to do what we need to do on Saturday, but we will be taking up same, similars, and technical changes on Saturday, and it will be on the agenda. So it will not be a surprise to anyone. We will do it the way that we should, which is by an agenda, which will be posted. We'll make sure the public is well aware, and we'll do that on Saturday at 2 o'clock.
And Madam Chair, as I pointed out earlier, we updated the agenda this morning. Our agenda was modeled after yours yesterday, which included both finance and policy provisions. We included both finance and policy provisions with the emphasis on what was in our bill that was not in your bill, so that the public could see that and so your members could become more familiar with the very good provisions in the House bill. When I don't believe that we have to wait until the Senate leadership comes back with a proposal. If they do, I think we can get to work.
So, Mr. Chair, I
Madam
suggest you
Senator?
relook at the agendas. The Senate agenda always said that it was finance proposals. And so I just want to be very clear on that. And I think we had a time change, if I'm not mistaken, on our agenda update. Yeah, so our agenda went from being less specific to more specific, so people knew exactly what that was about. If we're talking about agendas, yours went from being more specific to less specific. But I don't think we need to talk about that. We are ready to work. And we will be glad to talk about same, similars, and technical differences tomorrow. You've had us, we've been in session here since 11:30. We did take a lunch break. That was a nice thing to do. So we are not prepared to do that at this point. In fact, we have lost a number of our members already. So I suggest we all come back with a good rest have our staff have prepared the lists that we need, and we go over them tomorrow at 2 o'clock and see how far we can get. I think the most important thing for me is to make sure that we discuss these things in public, that we have good debate, so that we know the difference in the bills, we know the difference in the cost. On your side, you've got to figure out how you're going to pay for $1 billion of new spending. And that's what's in the House bill. The Senate, we've got the revenue to pay for what we have now. So, and I'm sure there's things in that House bill that you would like to make sure get included in the final bill. So there are things we have to wait for with our leadership. So let's not forget that. But let's come back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock, ready to work. Roll up your sleeves. And make sure we're ready to work and adopt or hopefully we can adopt. We can at least talk about. We'll just see how the staff, how the folks work out here in the seats. But the intent is to thoroughly discuss same, similars, and technical, and see if there are some that we can take action. So that is the intent, and you've got the gavel today.
Yes,
So.
Madam Chair, you're certainly right. The House is willing to invest in Minnesota. And in fact, we specifically are willing to invest in education, both early childhood, K-12, and post-secondary, varied post-secondary options, because that's what's worked for Minnesota for decades now. And we've been throttling back on that investment and throttling back on that investment. We heard from Minnesotans across the state that every child should have access to a world-class education in Minnesota. And the House is willing to do that. The Senate has not been willing to do that same investment. I'm totally on board with being in public as we do our deliberations. That has been the House's goal all along in both this committee and all the other committees. I know some of the other conference committees are having a little trouble with the Senate, unwilling to meet in public. We would like to get to work. This is maybe a particular weekend where family is important. Would you be willing to meet earlier to accommodate Senator Wiger's family obligations?
Regarding family, I did offer to not have a hearing on Saturday if you did not have one on Friday. And this was an important hearing, so I understood why you wanted to have that. We cannot meet earlier on Saturday morning. We can meet at 2 o'clock. But we cannot meet earlier than that. We can meet from 2 o'clock until however late people are willing to go. But we cannot do that earlier.
All right. Madam Chair, I hope that we come tomorrow with a spirit of energy, effort, and a willingness to do the people's business finally. With that, members, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.